When visiting Jessup, Pennsylvania, there are two things you'll notice right away: gardens in the backyards and lawn signs in the front yards. These brave citizens need your help challenging a major polluter threatening their bucolic Northeast Pennsylvania town. Invenergy, a Chicago-based company, has proposed a 1,500 megawatt fracked gas fire plant to be built on 80 acres in Jessup Borough in Lackawanna County. It would be the largest combined cycle gas power plant in Pennsylvania and produce greater than one nuclear reactor's worth of electricity while only providing 30 permanent jobs. The plant's 6 stacks, 3 for steam and 3 for exhaust, will tower over the Lackawanna River Valley and emit harmful air pollution. The proposed location is also on top of documented coal mine tunnels and shafts, and the company's engineers have documented voids of up to 8 feet wide below the construction site. Abandoned mines, nearby mine fires, and the Jessup Borough Municipal Landfill on the property all present a physical hazard and risk to the integrity of the structure.
My name is Tom Fiorelli. I live at 705 Powell Avenue, Jessup. Been a resident here my whole life, 64 years. Jessup was a nice, quiet neighborhood to grow up in. But, only 100 feet from this spot here began a stripping that went all the way to Troop and beyond Troop. And in between all these abandoned anthracite workings were homes, people's homes, schools. There were collieries. Okay, we had them here in Jessup. Areas where the coal was washed and prepared. Dust everywhere, mine fires, red ash dumps from where the column dumps had burned, and we were left with the remnants of that. We can't continue to burn fossil fuels. Everybody, 99% of the world's scientists know that. The Pope even recently came out and talked about it. Gas, natural gas, as clean as people think it is only cleaner. It's not clean. It's the last of the fossil fuels, and we have to stop burning it, or face a real danger of returning to the way it was not so long ago. It took us 50 years to get rid of the aftermath of the coal barons.
With the help of Energy Justice Network's founder and lead attorney, Mike Ewell, Jessup residents and residents of nearby municipalities filed an appeal of the air permit after it was issued by Governor Tom Wolf and Secretary John Quigley's Department of Environmental Protection. Almost immediately, Invenergy's attorneys, including the law firm of former Governor Ed Rendell, filed a motion to dismiss many of our objections. Judge Labuscus, an administrative law judge for the Environmental Hearing Board, denied their motion. The 3 areas covered by our objections are, first, that the air pollution in the plant exceeds EPA's major source pollution standards for volatile organic compounds and nitrogen oxides, posing a danger to public health and the environment.
My name is Bonnie Erzin. I live in Jessup. I first heard about it in the newspaper a few years ago because they were talking about our town changing noise ordinance for the proposed natural gas plant by Invenergy. Then I hadn't heard anything about it for at least a year and a half after that, until I got a flyer at my house from talking about they were planning construction in March of 2015, which was only a few months away. And so I was encouraged to go to the council meetings to learn more about it and the potential effects on public health and the environment. And so I did. And I also got involved in trying to inform more people by distributing flyers and getting petitions signed. Mostly just to slow things down, because I felt like even if I wasn't sure I was against the plan at this point, at least I wanted to slow things down so we can learn more to make a decision. I oppose Invenergy's proposal to build a natural gas power plant here. I feel that it's too big. I feel that the potential negative impacts on public health and the environment outweigh the proposed economic benefits.
Invenergy is saying that it's going to provide construction jobs for 2.5 to 3 years. That's for one building, really one facility. Whereas that 80-acre, 90-acre property, that could hold up to 20 manufacturing type buildings that could provide labor union jobs for a decade instead of 3 years, and employ hundreds, if not thousands of people from the valley instead of 30 people. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. I mean, if anything, the labor union should be screaming against this plant.
Second, we object to the air model submitted by Invenergy that failed to specifically analyze air inversion, which is when cold air creates a ceiling that traps emissions in the Lackawanna Valley. This is visible and observed throughout the valley on many mornings and at night. Lastly, we are submitting documentation of the potential for mine subsidence. Energy Justice Network is a 501c3 nonprofit fiscally sponsoring a fund strictly for this air permit appeal, and all donations made to this fundraising campaign are tax deductible. We are grateful for everyone who has contributed time, energy, and money for the fight so far. We also know that the fight to stop this dirty power plant doesn't start or end with the Environmental Hearing Board. Please claim a perk on the right-hand side of the screen and donate if you can. We also hope that you will share this page with friends and family. Thank you. Energy Justice Network.
My name is Sam Sebastianelli Jr. I currently reside in Peckville, but I was born and raised in Jessup. I'm a pharmacist now, but I have a degree in environmental science from Oaks University, and I worked for the Department of Environmental Resources while at Wilkes. Now it's the Department of Environmental Protection. And after graduation, I worked for a company called Montello Basin Engineers. And part of my job duties there were to construct subsurface profiles of the geology and the mine voids that lay beneath Interstate 81 and the surrounding areas. Now the closest power plant we have around here is the cogeneration plant, which burns primary gas is methane, which they get from the local landfill. Back in April, I took a couple pictures of the 87 megawatt cogeneration plant in Archibald, showing that the emission cloud on certain days just basically stays within our valley. It really doesn't disperse or get blown about by the prevailing winds. It does stay in the valley, and some of the consequences of this is we breathe this in. I'm thinking Invenergy at 1500 megawatt capacity, they would have a 17 times greater emission output. One of the consequences of living in a valley such as ours is that from October through April, like during the colder months, it's often susceptible to an atmospheric condition known as a temperature inversion. Temperature inversion simply occurs when a layer of cold dense air is trapped beneath the layer of warmer air. And if you could picture our mountains acting as walls, and you picture this warm layer acting as a canopy or a ceiling that houses this cold dense layer of air close to the valley floor, this cold dense layer is full of moisture, it has a high relative humidity, and it is slow moving.
My name is Ruth Lefchak. I live in Jessup, Pennsylvania, and I lived here for not for 35 years. I lived here for all my life. I'm an RN. I'm retired now, but I was an RN for Jessup School District, and then it consolidated to Valley View, and I spent 35 years there, tending to a lot of children throughout the years. Well, like I said, there was a dramatic increase in the number of cases of asthma throughout the years. And I imagine once this plant will be there emitting all these vapors into the air and all these chemicals, that there will be more. Now, children suffer when they have asthma. They can't play. They have to take their inhalers out in the playground. They can't run properly. Physical therapy. It affects their whole life and their whole well-being. And anyone who has it, and some children die from asthma because they're very prone to respiratory infections and such.
As a pharmacist, I know that respiratory medications alone per patient costs about $5,000 to $10,000 per year, and that's absolutely true. Now, if you take the 3,000 people who suffer from respiratory disorders just in Jessup, Archibald, and Blakely alone, that comes to between about $12 million to $24 million per year. And a lot of people can't afford to pay for the cost of their medications, so they rely on state, Medicaid, federal Medicare assistance programs. And this puts a great strain on both the state and federal budgets as well as the healthcare industry as a whole. And I just think it's funny that Invenergy is promising $500,000 a year, split so many different ways, when that doesn't even add to a drop in the bucket for just baseline respiratory illnesses alone without another power plant here.
I wrote letters to the governor, to Senator Blake, Representative Farina. I did get a response somewhat from Farina, and he did have a meeting which I attended. And in one article in the paper, he called the residents of Jessup coal crackers. My father worked in the mines. He was 14 years old when he worked there. And there were 6 of us. And he made sure we were all educated and that we have minds of our own and that we stick to our values. And that's the kind of man, that's the coal cracker mentality that my father had, that Farina referred to, coal cracker mentality. So if you call that bad, I don't know what's good. So when I see that, it makes me angry. And then it makes me want to do more to stop that.
One of the things that I found throughout all of this and getting involved with opposing the power plant was how proud I am of the people in my town who were willing to stand up for what they believed in, even risking getting threats and whatnot. But I was amazed at how many of them were willing to give up a lot of time too to put toward this effort. It's not easy when you're working and full-time, raising families and involved in a lot of the other things, to put that part of your life aside to devote so much time to this effort.